right, all right.
Yes, yes.
Greetings, greetings. This is Rejected Stone Productions Season 3,
Hmm.
Episode 1, Pushing Back Against Adversity. And greetings and welcome. Thank you for joining us and being with us again.
All right. Yeah, it's a pleasure being back in the house. You might want to say who you are, brother,
Oh, yeah, that's
brother,
true.
brother hosts. It's been a while. We got to get back and get the rust off. Yeah, so we let them
Yeah,
go.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. We didn't get it on there, Pop. That's true. Okay, well, we got some. We got some sound effects, as you could hear. We're trying some new things, but
That's right.
my name is Zebulon Miletsky, and I'm here with my partner, my colleague, my worthy constituent,
Hmm.
and brother, Dr. Jarvis Watson. Let's give him a hand. We welcome him, welcome and welcome.
Peace and blessings. Happy New Year. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you, brother. Yeah.
yeah, man. So how you been? It's been
Oh,
been a minute.
man, I can say I've been blessed with nothing but activity and opportunities. I started a new venture out last year, which has taken all my time, as well as traveling in where I am. So definitely blessed to work in a new environment with a bunch of great creatives. But it has taken a toll on one in regards to my attention, my energy. But it's been reciprocated in so many different ways in regards to just working with some new colleagues, some new leadership, but also with these wonderful students who are going to shape and mold this world in ways that you can't even imagine. So I'm just blessed to be around them. But
Right.
yeah, it's been wonderful, man. Yeah, just glad I only had to use my shovel once or twice. I know we got some snow coming soon, but I don't, hey, it is what it is. So yeah,
Yeah. I'm liking this new impact that we have. We have
yeah,
and also, this is our third season, and we're just really blessed and really glad to be able to offer this program again this year. It's we're busy,
yeah,
and like you were just saying, started new jobs, and congratulations, by the way, on getting that new position. That's a
yeah.
real excellent fit and a real great place that you are working with now. School of Visual Arts, I believe it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they're right in Manhattan, right? They're
Right, right. 21st and 23rd and all over the place. Yeah, but great group of people. Love to work with them. And I just want to say, for the purposes of what we're saying here, the opinions and facts that I share are in no way connected to School of Visual Arts. This is definitely part of Rejected Stone Productions. Want to make sure I put that out there, but that's more because I have a lot of love for the people there. So major shout out to SBA. We we, we,
yeah,
we're here. Yeah,
no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, and yeah, we all, I think they're talking about, this is the great resignation, they're calling it. People are,
man.
moving jobs, changing jobs, getting new jobs in
Right.
your case, and or either staying with their current job in my case.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people. But what's going on with that? That has a lot to do with, I guess they say, with COVID and with some of the things that have been happening in the world. Bring us up to speed, Jarvis. We have, it's been a long time, and you are keep us in the know.
Yeah. Great. Talking about adversity. The major theme of this particular recording message and show today. Um, what I've been witnessing, and it's like I said, SVA is like where I work and in other places. A lot of people have been experiencing this desire to work from home,
Yeah,
and part of that is also realizing when you're at home, there are these other things that are happening where you, because of the hustle, you weren't able to get things done or attend to certain needs or things around the house that might need some fixing, or even just doing some errands that maybe you couldn't do because you were at a location that was far from where you needed to go. But now, your lunch hour could be utilized in ways that you couldn't do that before. Um, The
Right.
for those who are parents, I think the ability to be around their children, actually see them grow
Mm.
in a different way. There's that added. So I think that might be lending to like what is and what are the benefits of being around home, but also as you start to get older or go into different parts of your career or experiences, it's like, what do I value more?
Mm.
So I think that's kind of putting a little bit of a different perspective on work and how much time you put into work. And I don't want to say too much, like I'm leaning one different way, but I'm just saying some of the things I'm seeing as far as like what I'm hearing from different people.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. And I think that's something we've been reading about and hearing about.
Hmm.
People are looking for new things. We've been through a lot as a community, as a society, and as a world.
Right.
And I think it's only natural, you know, uh, uh, to find that. And uh, it also seems to me that it's coming out in our politics. It's coming out in our national dialogue.
Mm,
We're seeing a more kind of defiant uh, sort of, kind of people standing in their own positions with with no ability, it seems, to change their minds or
right.
it's just sort of like, I'm in this camp. And that seems to me that's really doing some damage in our current climate. What have you been seeing as you look at just some of the politics, not just nationally but also locally. um
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the biggest things I see, and this is definitely developing a new definition of polarization for those who are for and against wearing masks. And I love it for the aspect of you being able to um, exercise your rights to, choose what you want, vote for what you want, and live how you want. The other part of that is I'm just hoping that people can come to some type of agreement or some type of solution that incorporates a little bit of both. Okay, you may not want to wear the mask all the time, but maybe there's like some schools have like mask free hours, so you
mm,
can go outside and breathe and things like that. But until we get this thing under control, I think we have to start considering um, different type of compromises in regards to making sure that we're exercising the best practices to make sure that we can all breathe, we can all exist. This virus goes down. To really understand how viruses work,
mm,
um, to do a little bit more research. But I can't tell a parent how to raise a child, and so I really am careful in regards to how I share my opinion about that because for those who are raising children, um, they have a different set of experiences and expectations as well as responsibilities that I'm not privy to right now. But
right.
I do want to figure out with all of the different adversities that are coming through with this mask or no mask. I'm not even get to the vaccine because that's way
Right.
I think that's way too controversial. But the aspect of wearing a mask and not wearing a mask, it saddens me because I feel like this is something that's going to start. Oh,
Oh, wait a minute, we got somebody calling in. We
oh,
have a caller.
yeah.
Hold on a second. uh, okay, hello. You're live on
Hello?
Rejected Stone Productions podcast.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Welcome,
I
caller.
can hear you.
Oh, right. Okay, good.
Yeah, to your point though. Yeah, I think just the way that one side of the street might be wearing a mask, the other side may not. And another thing that, in addition to all the things that come along with COVID, uh, that being one of those things that divides us. But how can we come to a compromise to make sure that we are making sure that we're all safe and looking out for each other? So I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking for.
We're just coming back from talking about some of the things that are dividing us right now, some of the issues that we're seeing in the land. And we're just trying to, as we come back, and we should mention, by the way, that our theme this for this episode is pushing back, pushing back against adversity,
Hmm.
and trying to, find ways to just, you know, survive right now. It's 2022. It's a
Yeah.
new year. We've been through a lot in the last couple years, and Rejected Stone Productions has been right here through it all. That's what's kind of exciting, and having a chance to, come back and discuss, come back and discuss some of these issues that matter, issues that are on the minds of people right now, and
Yeah.
just finding ways that we can come together, basically.
Yeah. Now you're out in the city. I travel there like several days a week. But what kind of adversity are you all seeing out there in the city?
Oh, well, I could think of a few things. I mean, I'm seeing I'm seeing generally, uh, kind of like I don't know, like people seem more stressed out.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just
Mm.
a little bit moving fast. A little less. People are not really finding the time, I think, to be, for politeness and stuff like that.
Mm.
There's a lot of attitudes, and there's a lot of, you know, my biggest challenge lately has really just been keeping, trying to stay, keep my own calm, and then also help others to stay calm.
Right.
Because the times like this that we're living in, people are very quick to, yell at one another, or just, especially, driving.
Yeah.
Driving has been rough. I'm finding that, I just really don't even want to go out anymore if I can help it.
Yeah, I
You
can
know.
imagine in the city, like bumper to bumper all the time. But are you seeing more people like flipping each other off and
Yes.
road rage kind of things? It's like you gotta let it. Hopefully that doesn't lead to too many like unfortunate situations. But I can see people using that as an outlet to get some of that angst off their chest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, definitely. I have seen that. And I find it. It's a confusing time. I think COVID has just changed so much.
right.
Um, and we thought that we're going to be post COVID, and now we're finding that COVID is a permanent, lasting condition that we're all going to have to just get used to and adapt to in a permanent basis. That's a hard realization in 2022.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think it's just a matter of trying to find joy in places where one can,
Hmm.
where you can. Um, Trying to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more calmer, and
Yeah,
because things are not always what they appear to be.
right.
Moments that happen are some of the biggest things I've seen happen is just misunderstanding, complete misunderstanding.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're finding that.
Yeah, definitely. I had a colleague of mine. She realized that people were burning out, and she sent. She's in a capacity where she actually could send out care packages, and the packages we got in the mail was like tea, calming patches. I forgot some other things they put in there, but it was almost like if you need a moment, that quiet moment for yourself, there's some other kind of calming, kind of like crystals that you put into a drink, like a water and like a crystal light, kind of thing, instant drink kind of thing, but you can cool out with it. And it's just entering something into your day-to-day routine, your day-to-day hustle that doesn't require you to turn on the TV, doesn't require
Mm,
you to look at a Zoom, doesn't require you to pick up the phone. It's just like you in the process of making that tea, or you putting the patch on your back and sitting somewhere and just vegging out. And I made sure I reached out to her personally and said thank you. And then when we were on a call together, I thanked her again in front of everybody, because I think that's the essence. And the fact that I work with a number of folks who are doing some amazing things on top of their 9 to 5 that they do with me, just having a one-on-one conversation like, hey, how you doing? Because recently I just went through some wild, with my family. I was having a number of family medical emergencies, but to know that I'm not the only one going through it, I got to ask that question: how are you doing? reaching out, say, hey, and you know what? I got so much more back from just asking that question, to
Yeah,
know that I recognize that you're worth it, you're valued, and also recognize that you're human and you probably go through human stuff like I do. And I think the more that I can sit down and relate to folks that way, I think kind of gives people a minute to kind of get away from that normal routine. I'm not sure if you see the same thing happening where you are, but just asking like, how often do you sit down and just, even with your wife sometimes, and the kids, like, hey, how's it going today?
for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, no, yeah, that no, that really hits me because you're absolutely right. It's important to take the time. I'm trying to do more of that.
Yeah.
Relax with the family, talk with them about their day.
Yeah.
Um, Healthy practices. And we should mention. I
Mm.
know that this year's the theme for Black History Month is going to be Black health and wellness
Yep.
this year. That's the
Yep.
national theme from the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Y'all
Uh-huh.
have heard me mention this organization before. I work with them. We call it a SALA.
Respect.
And you know, uh, uh, by the time this people see this, Black History Month is ongoing. Is happening now. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, um, I know the association is excited about their virtual festival. They're doing the second virtual Black History Month festival
Yeah, I
all
saw
through
that.
the yeah. Did you see it? All through the month of February,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be doing this, and it's all kinds of great events. Folks coming together, to talk about how we've been affected by, you know, just the pandemic, but not only the pandemic, which is a big thing, considering the disparities in terms of who has died the most, who is the
Oh
most
man.
affected
Yeah.
with COVID. But this history stretches far back to things like the Tuskegee experiment,
Yeah.
other things where black bodies have been experimented upon,
Mm.
including something I had no idea about, which was one experiment where they did radiation, uh, nuclear radiation. It's on the on one on black men, I believe it was a group, and they'll be talking about that. So this is all going to be really, really eye opening. So we encourage everybody to check that out as well.
Oh man, you got me intrigued, and definitely interest is peaked to find a little bit more about what's happening. And but just to and I think this is a fear too. I think another thing that's kind of like splitting folks, this whole aspect of like critical race theory, and uh, just a certain group of people feeling ashamed and things like that. And I'm like, if you actually look at the facts and the truth and the atrocities that have happened, um, one's feelings are something that maybe your ability to empathize or not to empathize is something that's getting in the way. And all we're trying to do is, and I'm glad that Asala is doing this, is actually sharing these things that have happened to folks that it was unsolicited. Like I'm just trying to breathe and exist on this planet just like you are, but you feel someone felt that it was okay to experiment and put people through these type of atrocities is like is a dehumanizing, evil kind of approach,
Oh
man.
yeah,
And yeah, it's I don't
absolutely.
know. Yeah, every time I hear about it and see some documentaries on these type of things, it's just like I can hardly get through half of it because it's just it's part of our history, it's part of our struggle. But it's like, dang, can I just get something happy today?
Right.
Like,
Well, I remember we did an episode on this
yeah,
maybe a year ago or so. I think, and I believe it was I think it was where we looked at and talked about people's hesitance. It was about the vaccine. We did the
yeah,
episode on the vaccine last year.
yeah, Yeah.
And a lot of people at that time, a lot of black folks especially were, um, you know, a little skeptical of taking the vaccine,
Yeah.
and that was so hard to understand at that time. Now fast forward and we know that there's a broad swath of people out there, black and white, and everything in between, who some folks who are resistant,
Yeah.
who have been against the vaccine, and we've seen all kinds of things play out. But I think for the most part, um, people are reaching toward health. People are reaching toward wellness. Um, and then there's some other brave people who just say, "Hey, I have an immune system, and I'm okay," But and you try to respect all positions, but yeah, this history is very, um, it's a very disturbing one.
Yeah.
Um, but they're gonna have some people there like Deirdre Cooper Owens, who's the author of a book called Medical Bondage. She,
Oh. Okay.
yeah, she did a lot of work on the origins of about the gynecological field and how
Hmm.
so much of that was experimenting on black women, in terms of developing some of the techniques that are even used today. I think that story's been well told, and so
Yeah.
they're going to be
Yeah.
bringing people like her on. There's also going to be a gentleman from the Henrietta Lacks Foundation
Okay.
that's going to be involved in talking about the HeLa cells, Henrietta Lacks HeLa cells. She had the you might have seen there was a movie about this on HBO
The
that
HBO special. Yeah.
that Oprah, I think Oprah did, and
Hmm.
told that story. And so black bodies, we're more than black bodies. We're not here only for labor and that kind of thing. We are more than black bodies, and that's the name of the event this year. Black Bodies, parts 1 and 2. Gentleman from the Henrietta Lacks Foundation
Okay.
that's going to be involved in talking about the HeLa cells, Henrietta Lacks HeLa cells. She had the you might have seen there was a movie about this on HBO
The
that
HBO special. Yeah.
that Oprah, I think Oprah did, and
Hmm.
told that story. And so black bodies, we're more than black bodies. We're more than just bodies. We're not
Right.
here to experiment upon. We're not here only for labor and that kind of thing. We are more than black bodies, and that's the name of the event this year. Black Bodies, parts 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty interesting, I think.
Hey. I just got had a great conversation with hopefully future colleague. And actually was produced by Jay-Z and Will Smith. So once again, you have some of these big time folks who are considered like cajillionaires and billionaires, and also intersected with being black or African American, really owning the narrative on how the story should be told. And to know that the sacrifices that Emmett Till and she had to make, for order for people to be free, it's that sacrifice coming back to make sure that the story is told in the same way that maybe at a time that she couldn't tell. But now that we have all this, access to uh, social media, access to networks, now we have people like Jay-Z and Will Smith in these positions that they can kind of like dictate how things are going to go, and
Yeah,
in a more collaborative way. I can't imagine. And the fact that it's recorded, you can watch this over and over again and actually get some really insight about, well, what was really going on during that time when Emmett Till was alive. And imagine if that was me. And then start to look at aspects of adversity. It's like, wait a minute, didn't Trayvon Martin go do something like that? Didn't
yeah,
Ahmaud Arbery go do something like that? Didn't
right.
And it's like, wow, you know, these pictures being painted or these narratives being illuminated in a way that you can't hide it as much as you want to go against like something like CRT or teaching uh to use Trump alternative facts.
Right, right.
That's more tongue in cheek right there. But the truth is going to surface. The light's going to come out. As much as you try to suppress this, the truth is coming out. And I think I really applaud Asala for providing these type of opportunities to learn and to understand our history is something that is hard to embrace. It's hard to understand, but it's there. It happened, So
But everybody should check that out.
mhm.
There's a Women in the Movement, I believe it's called, the
Yeah,
documentary.
yeah. And I think what we also be look at is like the unsung stories of women in movements. I was actually blessed to be on the Schaumburg had a comic book festival. I think that 10th annual Black Comic Book Festival, and
Okay.
one of the sisters that was on there, Rebecca Hall, wrote a graphic novel called Wake, The Hidden History of Women-Led Slave Revolts. And,
Wow.
and like I said, I'm a big history buff like yourself, and just always wanted to know about certain things that happened. But to make a graphic novel hardcover, you know, um, that really talks about these things in a way that just doesn't have words on paper, but to understand how to detail the emotions and the uh, lived experiences of folk during that particular time, um, and to have women at the center of this story really brings that visibility, but brings that value to
Mm.
understanding that it wasn't just men out there fighting; it was men and women, but sometimes it was only women fighting. So
Yeah.
um,
But
yeah,
yeah, man, that's exciting. That's exciting,
yeah,
because of, you had mentioned your position with at, your job and the institution you're with now, SVA, and it seems like it's just bringing you into a lot of new circles, from what I can
oh,
tell, and
yeah,
a lot of new spheres, man. And that will be important because the network that you bring together, that I bring together, but the ones that any one of us bring together is, you just never know what can come out of it. You never
yeah,
know what connections or what, you know what I mean? It's just so many different possibilities that can
yeah,
come out of these things. So it's great that you're out there. We'll be looking for you. We'll be tagging you.
right.
Um, and where can people follow you? Like social media and stuff. I guess I saw you on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Yeah, so my Instagram is doc underscore. Is it? Yeah, doc underscore Watson 17. I had to make sure I haven't you don't look at your own handle sometimes, but yeah, doc
Okay,
underscore Watson 17, and you can't miss me as far as a picture right there. But
right there.
yeah, the other thing is to your point, because we talk about adversity and chronicling certain things and identifying um unsung heroes in the movement, so to speak. I know you just wrote are you how's your book deal going? What's happening with that? If we could talk about that,
Oh,
because I think
yeah.
people need to know.
Wow, son.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta throw that back at you, man. You looking at me? I'm watching you too, because I saw that thing up on Facebook. I was like, oh, okay. I know, like I
Oh,
said,
well, thank you. Thank you.
see, listeners, I'm privy to kind of know a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, but to actually see the book cover on Facebook, I said, all right, it's something we're gonna talk about a little later. So
All right.
I don't
Well,
know what the bird.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, thank you. I
he's
can't.
not just a professor or a co-host on Projector Stone. He is also a DJ, sound provider, sound engineer.
Yeah.
You
But yeah, man, you were asking about my book, and thank you. Yeah, I had recently just shared it out on Facebook, and I just shared the cover actually, and it got a real big reaction. It got a real big reaction, and nothing can make author, happier than getting
yeah,
a strong reaction like that. And so the book is called Before Busing, and that's kind of the point, before busing in Boston.
mm,
For people who may not know, busing was school desegregation.
right,
Buses were used to bring kids from the black part of Boston to South Boston, and vice
hmm,
versa. And you know, I kind of had the idea of doing before busing because it seems to me in Boston the whole story about African Americans and kind of got distorted around
mm,
that whole issue of desegregation, and it caused such a rift in the city itself, and it's caused a something that Bostonians have really still been grappling with and trying to really heal from, to be honest.
Right.
So I, decided to focus on the time before busing to get a better context for what ends up happening, and maybe to understand why. And what I found was that um, Boston presents a real paradox because on the one hand, it's a place that people think of as being liberal and open
Mhm.
with
Right.
regard to race relations. It's something that Black folks felt that way about the city for a long time because of the abolitionist movement there.
Got you.
But in the more recent 20th century, there's a lot of changes that happen in the city itself that create this tension between Black and mostly Irish Catholic, Irish Americans who I talk about in the book as really having been kind of misled around the American Race Project into identifying with whiteness,
Hmm.
and that's really caused of all the problems. So,
Yeah, like I
um,
said, we got to talk about it and document it. And
yeah,
I'm proud of you getting to this point where, it's going to be out there circulating. So, like I said, we'd love to have you at one point come and do some discussions on that as well, because I think
thank
we're at a point right now where we're having some of these difficult conversations, but um, stuff based and rooted in research, so
you. Yeah,
definitely, anytime I can uh, get you to speak about it or come and share some of this knowledge, yeah, I'll do that. And that's how we got to look out for each other through adversity, because
that's
I know,
great.
you know,
That's
it's
absolutely
probably,
right.
yeah, 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 man. So, yeah, so for all you young authors out there, it's possible, it's doable. Um, and once again, this is an opportunity for you to share and own your narrative, so to speak, Um, and something that made me think about like your title also about adversity, like during slavery times, because there's this notion that there's always like a negative connotation with African Americans and being educated or being intelligent, and there's always this question of like how intelligent are you, and it's like
Mm.
do you know where we come from, like this
Yeah,
continent called Africa that had all types of inventors and leaders, kings of many folks, and how it influenced not just the continent, but places like Greece, places like Italy, and things like that. So it's and I'm thinking like the way that you phrase the title before busing helps people understand like there's something that was going on before. Even when people talk about segregation, they always really talk about the have and have nots, but there was something special going on, I think, in some of these schools where it was predominantly Black, where there was another sense of purpose, and another sense of like rising above the current situation. So does your book kind of talk about that a little bit in some aspects? I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, it does. It talks about a lot of stuff. I mean, I had to go way back um, with the history. I had to really start the book in um, at the beginning of the first arrival of African Americans in Boston, via slave ships.
Yeah.
That's kind of the opening of the book,
Wow.
1638. Um, and Boston's founded in 1630. By 1638, you have the arrival of the first slave
Oh
ship
shoot. Okay.
named called Desire was the name of the ship, ironically. Uh, Interpret that as you will, but it's
Oh
um,
wow.
yeah. I had to chronicle it back to that point because I think first of all, people forget that Boston and Massachusetts ever even had slavery. Never mind
Yeah.
some of the details of it. So just that part of the book is really drawing from a lot of other uh, researchers who look at the colonial period and look at the early America because that's not
Right.
really my specialty. But I kind of synthesized some of that work and brought it together to make to create the context
Yeah. Because
to show the context for what's going to become a demand in Boston. And it basically, like Boston, just like America, has its ideals and has its kind of lofty principles. Boston was called by some of its founders, a city upon a hill.
Mm.
And so it was supposed to, from the Bible, to shine like a city upon a hill. And that means being inclusive of all members of the city, not just some people, not just a Boston for some, not just a city upon a hill for some, but for all members of the city. Um, and Massachusetts simultaneously kind of claims it has a lot of pride in having, you know, created rights for African Americans early on, including the vote for Black men,
Hmm.
before the 15th Amendment. It prides itself on having ended slavery somewhat earlier than the rest of the country. But
Amistad is connected to Massachusetts.
and I
Yeah.
think that ship, the Amistad, um, it wandered its way into Long Island Sound, and then it was captured there and brought back to New Haven, I believe it was.
Okay.
But
I do remember that. Yeah.
you got in New England at that time, um, Boston, Massachusetts, I'm sure was somehow involved. I mentioned Amistad in the book. I meant have to mention all that stuff
Wow.
because
Yeah.
yeah, because just because this is the abolitionist kind of tradition that was very very important in Boston. But
Yeah.
anyway, but I have always felt that um, any contemporary problem that we may be having is made a little clearer from some historical context. That's all.
Hmm.
So basically, my book is just providing context for
Gotcha.
this big moment that caught the country by surprise. When school desegregation and busing started, people were unprepared for the level of violence that accompanied throwing things at the buses. Um, if you've ever watched the movie The Departed, they
Hmm.
show some of that footage of
Yeah.
Black kids coming into South Boston, and you can see them
Right.
throwing the rocks at them and all that stuff. And so yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think it's an important topic, and it's more than anything, it's a moment of a reckoning around race in Boston happening right now.
Yeah.
And you know, if you believe in how justice works, you know, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. And
Mm.
and
Okay.
so actually the name of the preface of the book is called The Arc of the Moral Universe in Boston. So we're talking about, why did Martin Luther King visit Boston in the first place?
Mm.
Why Boston has colleges and universities, so that always brings a lot of different interesting people into the city from all around the country.
Exactly.
Some of the smartest and the first few Black students who came to Harvard end up just staying in Boston and contributing mightily to the movement there. So it's been a long journey.
Yeah.
Boston is, you ask most Black folks about Boston, they're like, not today. You know what I'm saying? Not going. Ain't
Yeah.
happening. So it's had a rough reputation among the Black community, and I talk about that as well. I talk
Could
about
dig
that.
it.
Cornell
Yeah.
West talks about it. It talks about. I quote Cornell West in the book, and he's talked about how Boston has never been seen as a Black city in the way that like Washington D.C. or New York or
Right.
Detroit or Chicago has.
Yeah.
It's partly due to a somewhat smaller Black population there, um, but we have had an impact in other places. New Edition
I was
from
I was
Boston.
just about to bring them up.
Listen,
But you know what? When New Edition came out, to when people were like trying to figure out what are they from, New York? Are they from Jersey? They're from Ohio, or like you think about all these chocolate cities, not Ohio, but there's certain places like in Ohio that you can kind of identify as having like a large African American population. But DC,
right?
and they've come to find out they're from Boston. This is like back when they first came out in the 80s. I was like, Boston. Only thing I really
Uh,
associated Boston with was Larry Bird. Yeah, man. See, that's the Boston. That's the Boston you coming out. Said the right two words, but yeah,
Nah,
man.
it's
But
all
nah,
love and respect and love. But some beautiful music.
yeah,
And shout out to people who made that music in Boston.
Yeah.
Maurice Starr, super producer. who found New Edition, and then later put New Kids on the Block together, who I also like.
Hey, that's when Mark Wahlberg got exposed. He got his first exposure through.
Oh, Mark Wahlberg though, he actually he I he deserves a little more respect as an MC than he ever got, in my humble opinion. Um, but he has one song where he actually talks about race in Boston.
Get out of here.
Yeah, yeah, he does. He does. It's called Wild Side, and one day I'm gonna write something about this because he talks about it was the Stewart, uh, Charles Stewart case. You know, 80s. It was basically like a guy who Charles Stewart. Uh, he basically, it's a terrible story. His wife was pregnant, and I guess for insurance, he arranged for her demise. Nobody knew that at the time, and he told the police that a black person had killed his wife, and there was like a manhunt in the city. This is the 1986, I believe. 1986, and yeah, Mark Wahlberg made a song about it, like talked about it. But anyway, there's not too much examples of race being discussed, except so I'm always on the lookout for those kinds of things. But yeah, man, shout out to
Mark Wahlberg for bringing that up. Yeah,
those who did it.
Yeah, man.
But anyway,
but yeah, I think as we talk about the individual perspective of bringing things to light, I think it's also important that we let people know who are going through this stuff out there in the world that you're not alone, and that I definitely find that the more that we sit down and talk about these things or bring these things up, or even when you are at work, spend like 5 or 10 minutes just to kind of say what's going on with you, how's your day going, kind of stuff, because you never know what the struggle is. And sometimes when you interact with folks, they might be a little edgy or a little like you said, got a little vinegar in them, walking, people just kind of don't even acknowledge that you're there. It may be because they're just trying to figure stuff out while they're going from point A to point B, or they might just be sitting there because they try to get to point B, but they're like right in the middle, just sitting and trying to figure it out. And we just want to let people know that it's good to reach out and let someone know that you are thinking about them, and to know that you could open up a door for insight and dialogue and just chewing the fat, but if we don't make that space for that, we'll just keep on doing our routines, and it just doesn't make sense. I mean, look how busy we were. But we make sure we found the time to make sure we got this thing back up and running. And we want to make sure people, understand, like, hey, we know that you've been down, we know you've been out, you've been struggling, but there's something about resiliency, and like within the umbrella of resiliency is learning how to just get up and take one step. And if there's one step you took that you didn't take before, it's moving you closer to where you're trying to get to. So we just want to make sure people know that, let them know that we're out there paying attention, and anything that we can provide through our services to give you more support, please let us know. I'm not sure how they're going to reach out to us. Eventually we'll have a way for you to contact us, but we want to be able to create more programming to help you know that we're paying attention to what's happening, but we also want to make sure we provide solutions. If not just a space for you to kind of talk about these things and maybe something to come out of it, so just want to make sure I said that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think that at this point in the year, people are tired, people are going through a lot of stuff.
The
winter and it's true. I think it's a rebuilding, and I think that's why we called this episode pushing back against adversity, not letting things stop us from what we have to do.
Right.
We had so many technical. Did we not have a few technical? We had a lot of technical possibilities here, but we decided just to push through and keep it going. I've been under the weather. You know, I mean, it's all kinds of
Yeah.
things been going on.
Yeah, man. I remember my folks been getting hit with COVID and or COVID like symptoms, and
Yeah,
yeah, and I know that can put a damper on your day to day operations, so to speak. But I
to
think
say the
that
least.
that mental piece that comes along with realizing like how people have been affected by COVID and probably the mild and the more severe ways. I'm just glad to know that for those who are out there who were COVID survivors, that you're still with us and you're still pushing through and you're still thriving. Those continue to survive, and those who have lost family members to COVID, just want to give you a shout out as well. I'll let you know that our hearts and minds and condolences and well wishes are with you, and to let you know that just take advantage of the time that you have and be grateful for who's around you, and for those who have passed on, what have they taught you in regards to getting through this thing called life. Just want to be able to
Mm,
recognize and pay homage to those folks out there, but also inspire those who are still here to you know take the time to sit and reflect and restore. Yeah.
oh, absolutely, absolutely, man. You couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
And I also want to add that too. And my mind is on people a lot lately. You know,
Yeah.
just hoping that you and yours are doing okay, and that you're surviving in this time and thriving, even as we go forward. And just you know, we have to remove some strongholds that we had in 2020, 2021, and as we come
Hmm.
into 2022, just removing some of those strongholds, moving through, moving over, doing whatever you have to do to get through, over, to the side, under, whatever it takes, um, because you have an important vision, you have an important contribution to make, and you're just about to step into a new season. You know, I think that's the case for all of us. So we invite you to continue on this journey with us this year.
Yeah.
Who knows what it'll bring? It'll bring some. We got new sound effects. We got some new stuff, and we're gonna have some new guests this year, and we'll also be able to, when we're live, have you be able to call in. So we'll share that number with you next time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just keep. Yeah, brother. Thank you for once again pushing to make sure we provide the space today and pushing through some adversity today, but also uh while we were in hiatus, so to speak, that's like the meantime, still like tinkering and bringing some more new flavor to Rejected Stone Productions. And this is like really great to have some of these extra amenities and bells and whistles that will kind of like just put a little more of an accent on some of the things we talk about and some of the things we do. So appreciate you.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it too. Yeah, I think it's gonna work out just fine. So this is good. This has been really good. I think it's a great start to the season, and I'm just again looking forward to continue. Man, anytime I get a chance to talk to you, my brother, whether
Yeah.
it's over this or on the phone or anything, man, it's always a joy, and it always lifts my spirits.
Yeah, man.
It
Same here.
really
Yeah.
lifts my spirits, and so thank you, my brother, for making the time. I know you're a lot busier now. We're glad to catch you. You got
Oh,
new gig, and we see, like I said, seeing you everywhere. You can find. I think you mentioned your Instagram, and I'm on. You can find me on social media, Dr. Zebulon Maletsky, at basically just my name, at Zebulon Maletsky, Zebulon Miletsky. It's the same for Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, reach out to us and check out the Rejected Stone Productions Facebook page.
yes.
That
Yeah,
is, yeah, let them know where that is, because that's something we need to definitely pump it up.
yeah. Real simple. Rejected Stone Productions on Facebook. Just type that in the search, and it should pop right up. And then you'll see some of our recorded sessions and some of our great guests, some common guests out of there. And actually, I can tell you that a lot of them are actually doing really well right now. So it's really good too. But yeah, like I said, again, Doc_Watson17 at on Instagram, and Rejected Stone Productions on Facebook. Everything's the same, but just want to let you know this is a place where we have real talk about real things in real time. And we just want to make sure that we continue to be authentic and steadfast with our mission and our vision, and plenty of space for you all to be a part of this. So come on and join us.
Yeah, and actually, thank you, and actually share this podcast, share this with
Mm-hmm.
somebody. We had a great, some great download numbers from last year. We want to hopefully double those this year. So we're on Quiet as It's Kept. We're on Pandora. Um, we're on Apple Podcasts,
Yep.
and we're also on basically all the major um, systems that are out there. We're on all of that stuff. So if you want to come check us out, all the streaming systems basically we're on.
Yeah, man.
So
We
so
out here.
we out here. So my brother, thank
Yes.
you. I end where we began with greetings of peace
Mm.
and gratefulness and gratitude and thankfulness just for having a chance to dialogue with you. So uh, until next time, we'll bid you a good evening
Yeah. And a great year.
and a great year.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. RSP out.